A variable expression consists of constants, variables, and operations between them. Let's take a look at a few examples, and we'll also talk about how to evaluate variable expressions. In the first column of this table, we have a few variable expressions. Some of them have been written in a few equivalent ways. For example, 4x is the same as 4.x, which is the same as parentheses 4, parentheses x. Let's go through these variable expressions, write their meanings in words, and then we'll write the operation that is indicated in these expressions, just to make sure you're able to interpret them. In this first example, these are three different ways of writing 4 times x. If two quantities are written next to each other, in parentheses or otherwise, that's implied multiplication, and the dot is another way to write multiplication. So what operation is being used here? It is multiplication. Of course, we want to start using these different notations for multiplication so that we don't confuse the old multiplication sign for a variable. So get used to life with this dot. In the next example, we're looking at 10 over b, which is the same as 10 divided by b, and that is the meaning, 10 divided by b. It's important to know that fractions are just another way of writing division. That is the operation here. It is division. This next one is obviously addition. Not a whole lot of ways to write that. So the meaning here is 3 plus the variable q. The operation, as we said, is addition. 3 and q are being added together. In the last example, we have 7 minus n. So this is subtraction. Again, there's not a whole lot of ways to write that. So the operation being used is subtraction. We are taking n away from 7 in this expression. Now you should be able to evaluate these expressions. In the first example, let's evaluate 4 times x when x equals 3. Where there is x, we just have to replace it with x's value. X is a variable, so it could take on any number of values, but we're told in this example that it's equal to 3. So to do this evaluation, we do 4 times 3, and this is equal to 12. In the next example, b is equal to 2. And remember, this was division, 10 divided by b. So it's 10 divided by 2, which we can write as a fraction, and this is equal to 5. Again, we just plug in the value of the variable wherever we see the variable. If q is equal to 10, then 3 plus q is 3 plus 10, which is 13. Plug in the value where you see the variable and then evaluate. In the last example, n is equal to -3. So when we do 7 minus n, we're doing 7 minus -3. Be careful with those negatives. I put the -3, the value of n, in parentheses just to make sure it's clear there are two negatives here. There's one from the subtraction, but there's another one because n is -3. When we subtract a negative, that of course turns into addition. So this is 7 plus 3, which is 10. To evaluate a variable expression, we just plug in the values of the variables and then do the math. Here's one more example for the road. Evaluate 3xy over z when x is 2, y is 10, and z is 5. So this is 3 times x, but x is 2, so times 2, times y, but y is 10, so times 10, and then all of this is getting divided by z, but z is 5, so this is divided by 5. 3 times 2 is 6, times 10 is 60, so in the numerator we have 60, the denominator is still 5, and 60 divided by 5 is 12, and that's the answer. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and be sure to check out my Algebra 1 course and Algebra 1 exercises playlists in the description for more. In most of the videos, I'm not sick, so my voice sounds a little better. Thanks for watching.
Integrity, I'm a secular anesthetic from my own effigy. I didn't try just to be regular.